indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Somebody move the flag.
Yeah, it's totally disoriented. All right, welcome to the November meeting of the Clinton County Council. It looks like we have it's a pretty short agenda here for today, just some kind of more administrative work than anything. But we'll begin with our approval of previous meeting minutes. We had our regular October meeting and then two special meetings, two very brief special meetings on October 25th and November the 8th. Clark, have you had a chance to review
I was
those?
absent
Yeah.
on the 11th, so I'd have to
Yeah, I read
defer.
the, Janet asked if I knew how to do that, and it's been a while. So, yeah, I've read through everything. There was a little thing to change, but I approved everything with a minor.
So we got that taken care of.
Everything was taken
Okay.
care of.
Okay, so let's do those one at a time, if you don't mind. So I need a motion then on the October 11th regular meeting minutes.
I'll make motion.
Motion by Jake to accept, second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0
abstain, yeah.
with Clark abstaining. Then on the October 25th special meeting minutes.
I did attend that, and I read those minutes, and I would make a motion to approve the October 25th minutes.
Okay, motion by Clark, second by Jeff. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. I think that was 7-0, or is it 6? Jake, was your hand down?
Yeah, mine
Oh,
are.
who's up? Okay, 7-0. Special meeting, November the 8th.
I made that meeting and I read those minutes, and I'd make a motion to approve those.
Okay,
Second.
I think I had Joe down here with a second. So motion by Jeff and a second by Joe. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you for that. Brett, Community Corrections, our monthly update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've got 82 on this morning, one on CTP. We have 7 juveniles and 1 on pretrial. We are retiring our canine as of Monday for medical issues.
Okay,
Our kennel has honored their warranty, so we are going to get another canine in January, so we're happy about that. I've been meeting the last couple of weeks with a group of stakeholders here in town about the opioid settlement money and targeting some needs, and one of the largest needs we've come up with is transportation. There is a transportation meeting on December 6th. I'm sure if any of you will be attending that. But we kind of brainstormed and think it's time maybe for Paul Philippi to set up some kind of a set route, east-west, north and south. So I know the recovery community would benefit from that. The Hispanic community would definitely benefit from that for those that can't receive a license. It would also alleviate some of the court issues. Probably every week I receive 3 or 4 driving while suspended, driving was never licensed. So it would save some time in the courtrooms. But something that goes maybe from Walmart to NHK, the hospital to healthy communities, or the retirement home, something along those lines. But something I think it needs to be explored in detail, and I think would really benefit the community.
okay.
Any questions at all?
Do we have a kind of a working group established for that?
We do.
I mean, is it kind of an
Laura
informal at
Archibald
this point?
organized it, and we have FPD involved. We have the mayor, myself, Nancy, Rodney from the Board of Health, and Ashley from the Sheriff's Department.
Okay,
So we got a lot accomplished. We met 3 times so far. We're going to finalize some of our findings on next Wednesday. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to come close to spending the money that we've been allocated. So that's a good thing too. And, we'll probably present that to you and maybe the commissioners on what our findings were and go from there.
Sheriff?
I'd fully support, the transportation issues that are involved. We have inmates that are approved for work release programs with no vehicle. And I know, at least one of the higher ups in one of the community factories out here in our industrial community pays out of his own pocket. And I think that, the time has come with the rising gas prices and everything else and the money that the county is committed to a transportation program, start finding some dedicated things that we know that are going to happen. We need to transportation, especially in our own community, outside the community. Great, but getting people from work to home and from to work is probably one of the key things that may help out our industrial park out there. Plus, it have to be an attractive factories, companies that will be in that area. Dedicated drop lot or a dedicated bus desktop. Be at home, so I think it's something we do.
I just want to make sure that we probably need to have some sort of council representative or commissioner represent, local government representation on that working group, because I know I've had some people reach out to me about wanting to make sure that the 180 recovery program facility out there is, a part of a discussion about the opioid settlement funds. And so, I want to make sure that if they're coming to me, that the rest of the group knows what I hear. And conversely, I need to, I think we want to make sure that everything's on the table.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, because like the coroner's office is not involved in that. Like it or not, the coroner's office is involved in our opioid crisis, our opioid issues, rather. And sometimes, that's something that we, I think, should be included in that, if they have a coroner out there in those meetings. But I think before it's all settled and the dust, settles, it would have to be Commissioner Allen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, they fund everything we do. I think it would probably be a great idea to have them part of that working.
I guess my point being is it feels like maybe there's requests coming to different people, and we need to have one clearinghouse, for all of that information, to look at all of that in a holistic way. So maybe let's just talk offline, and we'll make sure we're not duplicating efforts. So,
Understand. Thank
okay,
you.
thank you. You have in your packets the update from Nancy on juvenile detention costs, which was another good month. So strong year there for that budget. So then that gets us, we have no new business unless anyone here on the council has items that were not put on the agenda. Anybody have anything else to bring up on new business? Okay. So let's just move to our additional appropriations then. Oops. Janet, did you give everybody the new one?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, okay. We had a couple of things that got inadvertently advertised as additional appropriations that are in reality transfers. So that's why the corrected ordinance there, and
Okay.
we'll point those out when we get to them in our list here, so as we go down. And they're both in county general, if I remember right. So in the county general additional appropriation list, we've got, from the coroner's office, we've got a couple of items, and Ed's here to speak to them if anybody has any questions, but he has kind of addressed them with us previously, so I think they're not unexpected. We've talked about how earlier in the year we increased the per diem rate, the call rate for the deputy coroners. We went from 150 to 250, so that left us with a shortfall in that line. And there's a request for $1,250 to cover the shortfall in the deputy coroner pay. And then Ed had also given an update earlier in the year about the, just kind of the abnormally high number of autopsies we've had in the county and how he was running short. So here's the official request for $8,000 to fund the autopsy line item for the remainder of the year. Those are kind of big numbers. Anybody have any questions for Ed since he's here on any of those? I think we've covered them. Area Plan Commission, another one that we've talked about in the past, $2,000 for fuel and oil. Liz has referenced how until the prices took off this year, we hadn't really realized that the area plan had been left off of the fuel contract for the county. And so while the rest were at our contract rate, she went with the market rate. And when that jumped up, it's left a shortfall in her fuel fund. So we have corrected that for 2023. The first one that is in error here is the next one that is in my list is the surveyor's office, was $1,881. That's actually a transfer, so we need to deny that, 1881, and you'll see that in the revised ordinance, it's already listed under denied out here to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, she may have moved that. I kept it in my place to keep it at the county general here.
Okay.
And then the second one that's like that is also in county general, and it's from the Superior Court, and it was $1,000. That's actually a transfer from part-time court reporter to extra help. It got inadvertently listed as $1,000 additional appropriation. So there's two things we need to deny there: $1,000 from Superior Court and 1881 from surveyors. So that would mean the amended the amended approval line for county general is $11,250.
Okay.
Do you think we need to votes to deny each of those individually? Probably so, for the record. Let's do that. So for the surveyor's office, we'd had that advertised amount of $1,881. I need a motion to deny
I'll
that.
make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Clark, is who I heard. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0 to deny that appropriation. And then $1,000 from Superior Court.
Motion to deny.
Okay, a motion by Clark,
Second.
second by Jake. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0 to deny that. So that leaves us with $11,250 in county general. Parkview Home, we got a gift donation of $257.92 for the gifts fund, and this is, we're appropriating that money then for use on Christmas presents. County Highway Department, we need to appropriate some money, $4,250 for engineering fees for a bridge project. Board of Health, we have two items that total $1,830 that are to cover additional hours for part-time employees. From the misdemeanor fund, $1,000 for sponsorship of a community event. Brett, anything you want to elaborate on what the event might be? Okay, okay.
Did you miss another Board of Health from
Did I?
130?
No,
No,
I
that was
did.
part of it.
I
that
I
was
just
part
kind
of
of
it.
took them together as
Okay,
the
okay.
1830 because
Oh,
they were
he made
both
it, yeah.
for the same thing.
Sorry.
One is for the extra help, the other, you're right, though, there is a difference. 1,700 is the extra help, 130 is for the Social Security and Medicare, for a total of 1,830.
Okay.
Okay, we got a couple of different things with the public defender items. So the first batch is for the public defender fees that are assigned by the courts and collected by the clerk. So they're essentially reimbursements from the people that got the benefit of the public pauper attorneys. And we have some from both the circuit court and Superior Court, and it goes all the way back for the first 3 quarters of the year. So from January through September, for a total of $15,605.97. And that is for both courts. And that is, again, that's money that's received from individuals that benefited from pauper attorney fees. There it is. Adult probation, Nancy submitted, we received another $309.63 through the Trex program, the state's Trex program, that she's asking to be appropriated back into a line item. Then these next two are, I'll refer you back to our budget discussion. In the budget book, we had our debt service payments put into separate funds. One for the road bond payment and one for the sewer and water bond payment. We neglected to have that in. The money is put into the fund, but we never did an appropriation for this year's payments. And so this is to correct that oversight. So there's, for the road bond payments for 2022, that's $443,000. And for the sewer and water debt service payments for 2022, that's $455,000. So this is actually appropriating the money so that we can write the check. For Wildcat, we've got, for Wildcat Solid Waste Management District, $27,315 for director salary, full-time employee salary, Social Security, and PERF.
What's the note on here that says already done? Didn't we do that in October?
I have already transferred the money, so
Oh.
that's Janet not to do it again.
So that's taking it from the cash balance of
Okay.
the district and putting it into those line items.
Just to reimburse.
County Highway from the wheel tax, $4,000 for ice control. And then again, on Wildcat, we got a reimbursement from Travelers Insurance of $990 that we're appropriating back to the fund. Now, here's the other public defender. So we also receive a reimbursement from the state from the Public Defender Board. So we submit all of our proper attorney fees to the state, and we get reimbursed at either a 40 or a 50% rate, depending on the case. This is $20,992.80 for the regular public defender reimbursement, and then we also received $38,231.65 for the capital murder case, which is reimbursed at the 50% rate. So the total is $59,407.88 that we'll put back into our put back into the public defender line. And that is all of the additional appropriations for November. Any questions or need for further explanation on any of those? Okay. Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve that additional appropriation ordinance, which is 2822-17.
So moved.
I have a motion by Joe to approve that ordinance, a second by John. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. We do have a handful of transfers that we need to approve. For extension, $400 from janitor to extra help. Here's our Superior Court one, from $1,000 from part-time court reporter to extra help. Parkview Home, $1,000 from our furnace oil to cooking gas. Soil and Water Conservation District, $2,100 from the training line item to the conservation grant personnel. EMS, $14,700 from the paramedic supervisor to the EMS director. I'll just remind everybody that we did hire Stephen to be the full-time director mid-year, and so when we did the budget last year, we still had the part-time director salary in there. We had one paramedic supervisor line item that was not being utilized, so we're moving that over to cover the full-time salary that we implemented there mid-year. County Highway Department, $2,222.66 from an empty employee line to a occupied employee line, and then $1,516.80 from an empty employee line over to an occupied employee line to get payroll correct through the end of the year. And then a request from the recorder in the perpetuation fund, $1,600 from the amount that we do for the first deputy's position and move it over to extra help because the first deputy's been on maternity leave, and so she has some unused funds, and we're moving it over to the extra help that's been covering that work. That is the transfer slate of requests.
Did you get the one from extension?
Yep. The 400, yep.
Okay.
That was the first one.
All right.
So I'd entertain a motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
A motion by Jeff to approve those transfers, second by Jake. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. You have in your packet the monthly financial report from the auditor that details all of the fund balances, and as we attempt to do each month, we need a motion that that's been received to show for the record.
I make a motion, it's been received.
I have a motion by Jeff, and a second. Was that Joe? I heard. Second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0, and our friends at the State Board of Accounts appreciate that. Okay, any council reports?
No.
I will say that Ed allowed me the opportunity to stand in on a autopsy there, and they said over and over again how much they appreciated the facility that they had there. They were very, very thankful, so I wanted to pass that along.
Okay, great.
How'd you do?
I did good.
Okay, good.
I stood up the whole time, I think.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, because I'm not sure I could have accepted that invitation.
I guess I'll go ahead and make this announcement now, is that my last council meeting will be in December. I will be stepping down and resigning my position on the county council. I did purchase a house outside of my district, so come the end of December, I will be stepping down. So just, I appreciate the last 8 years on the council and everybody's commitment to making Clinton County a great place to work, to live, and definitely bittersweet, but new adventures in life coming up. So.
That's for sure. You ought to tell your other big news.
What's that? Oh,
Yeah, that you're a grandpa.
yeah, I'm a grandpa. My daughter had a baby yesterday, so
That's exciting.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna miss you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
for
your
your
service.
8 years. I think you've been a tremendous link between the council and the public safety sector in particular. So,
Definitely bittersweet for sure, but my last meeting will be next month, so.
okay, all right. Make that official there.
Thanks, Jed.
I'd like to just take a moment, I wanted to thank Mike for joining me at we had a mediation hearing regarding the eminent domain proceedings on some of the property acquisition out at 28 and 65, and Mike was kind enough to take an afternoon and go down there with me as we went through those proceedings, and so that all turned out well. We did reach an effective settlement, and so we can mark that off our to-do list, but thank you for going down there with me on that. Do we have any commissioners with us today? I don't think we do. We don't have any commissioner report. Department heads, anybody need time with the council? I know the sheriff does. Renee, go ahead.
Real quick, I received an email yesterday from Jeff Schimmer, who's our 911 Executive Board Director. They anticipate finishing their financial audit this week, and as you know, usually once a year, we will get an extra
Yep.
distribution.
Yep.
And they anticipate making that next week.
Oh.
So hopefully, we will get that. I'm not sure exactly the amount. Again, an extra distribution is a 90-10 split, so it's 90% based off of population, 10% where everybody gets the exact same amount.
Okay.
So last year, we had a significant amount, I can't remember, but it was quite a bit.
Okay.
So we do anticipate receiving that next week,
Okay, great.
so that's always good news.
Let us know.
Yes, so I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
Sheriff?
Just a few things to cover. Need a couple of yeses, Jake, before you call it quits. Basically, every year we come to this time and we ask for use of some of the commissary funds to do an awards banquet for the Clinton County Sheriff's Office employees. I think last year we were at and I wish I would have looked, but I didn't. I think we're at 5,000 or 5,500, I think is what we were set at. I am going to ask for 7,000 this year. Things have went up, and we're probably about 115 to 140 people will be there in attendance. So that's what I'm going to ask for. We will not go over the 7,000, and that's what I'd like to ask the council for approval to use the commissary funds for that.
Why don't I just pause you right there and we'll deal with that before you move on. We have done this the last couple of years, so we've got a precedent set here. I believe the way we've done it is a not-to-exceed authorization, so would anybody care to make that motion for a not-to-exceed on 7,000?
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion by Jake, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, that we not-to-exceed 7,000 from commissary funds for the awards banquet. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, go ahead.
Also, kind of a great topic we've been talking about with the two schools, Clinton Prairie, Clinton Central, talking about the SROs, the school resource officers, and the ability to get a deputy placed in there. We should have an MOU from Clinton Prairie for approval through their attorneys, probably in the next, hopefully by Friday, because they do have a board meeting on Monday, and they're going to present it to their board for the additional funding. So it would be 100% salary is going to be on the school, and then we are going to provide the officer training equipment benefit package. So that's something that we've talked with commissioners, and commissioners are absolute about it. And the nice thing was I wasn't able to attend the meeting, one of the meetings with the commissioners, but they also, you know, hey, we're going to make this offer to Clinton Central as well. So hopefully Clinton Central, we're going to meet with superintendent this afternoon, talk to him about funding and things like that, and hopefully they'll be able to find the ability to fund and get the full-time deputy out there at out of Clinton Central as well. So SRO lines, we'll have to work on that, and I think Ashley will probably reach out to Mrs. Osler and get that taken care of. But, you know, it's something I want you folks to have a part in and a say in and, you know, in conversation about. But we're basically accelerating the process by 3 years. With them doing the 100% funding on the salaries, we're at where we would have been at if we had received the grant. So next year, this year, or 24, we will, or 23, excuse me, I'm really jumping, we will also again apply for that grant to pay for those positions to help out. So we're going to still apply for those grants for those SROs. And one of the biggest thing on the denial for that grant was we'd never applied for it. So I get it. You know, a lot of other agencies had applied for it prior than us. I think Frankfort City has applied for it in the past as well. So we took it on the chin, didn't get that grant this year, but the schools are, you know, going to step up and get to the plate and bring that salary. And, you know, so I've got to really say thank you to the schools. But just to keep you in, you know, in the loop on that, we'll have more conversation, I think, probably, hopefully pretty quickly before the, you know, maybe in January, we'll be able to move forward with quite a few things.
Do you have any reason to believe that we'll have better luck on the grant the next year than we did this year?
I do, because just like, that was one of the major denial reasons was we hadn't applied for that in the past. And so other agencies that had got preference over us that hadn't.
So we were too far down the list.
Too far down the list. So, and with a certain amount of funds that was available, you know, and that's, you know, it's part of the grant process, I would say.
Okay.
So we'll continue to apply for that. We have some things that we need to replace at the sheriff's office, and basically it's outdoor Christmas decorations, things like that, minimal cost, and through the commissary fund is how we typically, you know, acquire those and put those things out with your approval as council, just to make those replacements on things that have been damaged over the last 3 years.
Any cost estimate?
$1,000, $1,200 is, I would say, would be more than adequate to replace the things.
So describe that to me again. It'd be for replacement of Christmas
Outdoor
decorations?
Christmas, or outdoor holiday things out at the front lobby.
So let's have another, I'd like to have another official vote for the record on that to approve that for documentation. Anybody care to make that motion?
I'll move.
Okay.
You want to say 1,000?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, a motion for $1,000 to replace outdoor Christmas decorations at the sheriff's office and jail. So I have a motion by Jake, second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We're also in the process. This week, merit board meeting, we have 3 candidates to hire as merit deputies at the sheriff's office. We're finishing that up this week. So, you know, and those are through the federal inmate fund. And, you know, so it, hopefully we'll have 3 to hire. It just depends. I think, you know, hopefully they show up at the merit board meeting, go through their interviews. But we have finished that process up, and we have 3 people that are, you know, potential hires. So that's something exciting there at the sheriff's office to add that and be able to get these deputies out on the road. Equipment, vehicles, all that is taken care of with the projections that we had. So all the vehicles are accounted for and no large purchases out of that. So in addition, it's already been taken care of. So it's kind of nice. So hopefully after the merit board meeting on Wednesday, we'll send an email out and we'll have 3 new employees for the county.
Okay.
So, on the other end of it, we're talking about, I talked to Alan real quickly about some attorney bills, things like that. We've talked about it in the past. For the sheriff's office's legal deputy, and also through the other processes of the hearings that we've had and what's in appeal now, getting those attorneys taken care of as far as paid. So it's something that, you know, we need to address. I think Judge Person made it pretty paramount that these folks get paid for their work. So kind of waiting on that approval and, you know, a conversation about it. So if we can do that offline, you can let me know, but we do need to
Well,
address some of those.
when we talked last, it was like, let's get through harvest, and we've gotten through harvest, so let's try to get together here in the next couple of weeks and figure something out.
Fantastic. And that's pretty much it. And also on the appeal process that was reset for January, funds, or where's the expectation that they're gonna come out, so we can kind of know at a balance here at the sheriff's office where we're gonna be? Is that gonna come out of the federal inmate fund as well?
I can't answer that off the top of my head.
Okay.
Have to do I gotta look at some stuff and figure.
Absolutely. So-
My goal would be, Sheriff, let's try to have something that we can present back to the council in December. You know, kind of have a plan of how we're gonna deal with all of this.
All right, I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay. The only other thing I had was the HVAC issue that I was gonna.
Oh, yeah,
bring up, but if you
absolutely.
wanna-
Forgot
if you'd like
about
to
that.
Speak to that.
I asked Commissioner Brewer, he's going to come over tomorrow. We've tried to connect here in the last probably week and a half, and everybody's either been sick or had meetings and things like that. We're going to go tomorrow. We're going to kind of do a walkthrough with our maintenance people and maybe some of the folks that are doing the contracting work down there in the sheriff's office with and I hope I'm saying it right, the chiller and boiler project. And it has led to additional things that are wrong that it's been there since Sheriff Hensley was there. So they're getting old. They need replaced. And so we're talking about flues. We're talking about some mixer valves, things like that. And it's all out of my wheelhouse, but I know a mixer valve's about $5,000. And, and then you got to pay to put it in and things like that. The flues are rotted out for the boilers and for the chiller system. So, that was an additional cost that I didn't think we saw. And I think Alan can address it.
Yeah.
We've had some conversation, and, it's just part of trying to replace things. But when we replace one part, it leads to having to replace a few other parts. So there's going to be additional money.
Yeah, the most pressing issue that I have a request for the council to consider is that, and the sheriff's right, what they're finding is that, and you'll recall when we had our tour, I think, John, were you with us when we did that? And we saw some things, so this did not surprise me. But as they put the new boiler in, the hot air has to be exhausted out through a flue to the exterior, and that piping, that flue has holes in it. And so we're getting a lot of humidity that's just going into the building, and so we need to replace that. The estimated cost to replace that component was $51,000. Now, they had $17,000 that they were going to use out of the contingency from that guaranteed maximum price that we had already approved earlier, but that still leaves a change order of $34,445. I have the number here. So the commissioners would like to move forward with authorizing that change order, but need to have our blessing on providing that additional funding. We do have a cash balance, and Sheriff Kelly and I talked about using the cash balance in our jail corrections lit, that we would have available funding there to correct this. I don't think that'll be the last request. I think, we're gonna have some other things that are probably gonna come up, but this one needs to be done as soon as possible. So I'd like to have the council's consensus that we would fund this $34,445 so that the commissioners can sign off on the change order and we can get that flue replaced.
I'll make a motion that we give that consensus.
Where's that coming out of?
The jail corrections income tax fund.
Second.
So I had a motion by Clark and a second by by Jeff, that we support that expenditure. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. So we'll pass that on to the commissioners and they can sign that change order.
Thank you very much. The work that is being done, I mean, we're talking about almost $1 million project.
Yeah.
So $50,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money when it comes to, a $700,000+ project. So the good news about that is a lot of that's being paid out of the federal inmate fund, which is exactly why that fund was developed and designed, but so it could carry these costs without having to go into the county general. So with that, I do appreciate your time, and thanks for everything that you're providing us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Anybody else? See a couple other department heads. Anybody need anything? No? Wow. I like these fast meetings.
Yeah.
Any other council member have anything? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we'll call the meeting